Woo!
Let's go.
It's begun.
We've done it.
Again and again and again.
Woo, 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 woo.
I'm super thrilled. I can't wait to talk about today's group topic, wellness. Because it is fucking wild. Speaking of wellness, I got your water over there.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, there's crystals in it.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I only put crystals in my glasses.
Mm-hmm. So
they're my favorite burgers.
So when I say wellness, what comes to mind for you?
When you say wellness, I think of crystal water bottles. I think of keeping tiger's eye in your bra. I think of putting patchouli under your armpits. I think of
what is tiger's
putting your
eye?
Menstruation blood under the moon.
Oh, that one works.
They all work.
What's tiger's eye?
It's a stone. Italians are really into it. It protects you from the evil eye.
It's the blue one with No.
It's like an amber brown with like little flecks of like darker brown in it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think Jesus had one maybe too.
So I have an interesting connection to wellness. My dad was a yoga teacher, so but very not a woo woo guy. Very much like
he wasn't a woo girl.
He wasn't a woo girl either.
Not your dad.
But like there's like a spirituality to yoga, obviously. So like he had a little bit of that going on. He had a little bit of that kind of mysticism, but I never got deeply into it or really deeply understood it until I kind of got older, and then I kind of got really into it. I worked at a meditation center for a while. Wellness is a big deal for me.
It's also a big deal for Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah, me and Gwyneth hang out.
Only soups and salts from different places.
Me and Gwyneth get together and snort soup.
Did you watch the documentary, the Goop documentaries on Netflix?
They don't let guys watch that.
Really?
Yeah, when you go on Netflix,
there's a lot of guy teachers in it. So
I tried watching it, and they were like, "We're sorry, your account is banned. You have to watch Fastest Car."
Yeah, they said not our secret.
They said no. Yeah. We can't let you in on too much.
Shh. Hang on, we're gonna pause. Will you close this door really quick, and I'll edit this out just for sound.
Perfect.
I've noticed when all the doors are closed, it sounds better. Perfect. Thank you.
We're back.
But truly, they won't let you watch it.
No, they wouldn't let me watch Goop, unfortunately.
And I think that's good.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, because I don't want you to know about all of the deep scientific knowledge that was presented in those.
I don't think women understand. They only have.
Do you not?
They only have access to half of the Joe Rogan Experience. The other half is guys only.
Yeah, it's just the half. It's the half they can see on Twitter.
Yeah, the half they're allowed
whatever's
to see.
retweeted. That's what they got.
That is literally how most people experience. That's the experience.
I think that wellness is all of a sudden like I feel like wellness is supposed to be this concept of like being the best version of yourself.
Yes.
But now wellness is like marketed to us. Like all of a sudden in 2022, everything is about your gut health. You've had a gut your whole life, bitch. What are we doing? All of a sudden I go into stores and it's just gut health. Like your gut has been doing fine without Clorox chiming in. Like we don't need Burt's Bees to tell me what's going on in my gut.
Clorox has a line?
Well, a lot of those brands are owned by bigger brands. It's like they're like little towers.
Bleach your tummy.
Who knows?
Who knows?
But don't do that, by the way. People are eating Tide Pods. Don't be doing none of that.
Please don't bleach your tummy.
But in general,
you need a hairless tummy.
Yeah, me. But literally. That is and that's a thing that, like, I don't think people realize this, but that's a big thing that, like, beauty and wellness brands do, where they'll pick, like, an ingredient, or they'll pick one thing.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll make it a marketing scheme. Like, a couple years ago, everything was vitamin C. Vitamin C everywhere. Every skincare, every product. Yeah. And it's like, people are like, oh, I need vitamin C. I need a vitamin C. Do you have vitamin C? And it's like, vitamin C it's not new. Like, they're introducing it to you as if you now need it, but, like, too much vitamin C will break you out, a lot of people.
Oh, interesting.
Or like, hyaluronic acid all of a sudden. They're like, hyaluronic acid in everything. And it's like, those ingredients were already in your products. Now they're just bold printing that word, and you think that you have cracked the code to youth and beauty. And it's like, no. Like, less is more sometimes. Like, your gut... Just eat some things that your gut wants and move on about your day. Stop taking pills in the shape of bears.
Maybe this is a bad example, but I think of it as like when cracklins, cracklins, of course, the pork skins, pork rinds.
Oh, I know what popcorn is.
When they started to market it as, I believe, like no carb or low carb or whatever.
Yeah, keto. People are breading chicken in it.
And it's keto, and it's like, hey, maybe for certain people's diet it works there, but it just is very funny that because low carb got into vogue, they're still the same thing. They're the same item that you were purchasing.
Who needs to buy pig skins when you can eat your scabs? Like, what are we doing?
Don't say that.
I mean, skin is skin, hun, but it's one of those. It's very strange to me how quickly people would jump on a marketing wagon and believe it is the truth. Whenever half the products you pick up, and this is from someone who has worked with many a product. I mean, I have youth in my bathroom.
Oh yeah,
but like most products you pick up, the very first thing the back of the box says, if you look, is not approved by the FDA, which means everything that you read on this box is a joke and a rhyme and a scheme, and it's a guess. Someone said, maybe this does this, and they're marketing it to you now, and you're buying it and spending, I mean, I don't know, say you buy a thing of vitamins, it's $30, you buy it every month, right? It's a month's supply. I can't do math, but you're somewhere like in $450, whatever.
3 times 12, yeah,
a year.
We have $400
to eat, like,
ish.
Candy.
Yeah, well, that's the big issue is like we talked about this yesterday, but it's like the FDA is not without fault, right?
Of course, everyone's wrong.
Of course there's products that aren't approved by the FDA that do work. Like there's no denying that. Like this pre-workout, but the issue is with the way that like we sell things and buy things, especially today, it is inevitably going to make its way and trickle down into people like shysters who are just trying to make money. So you have, even if the initial thing, like let's say whatever ashwagandha comes and it's like, oh, this is really good for you when taken in a certain amount, you're gonna inevitably have a company that finds a way to synthesize it, make fake versions of it, make watered down versions of it, and sell it with that same thing. Wellness is not in mind there. It's just leeching on a trend or leeching on a study that comes out that's highly publicized. And
sometimes they're not even highly publicized. Sometimes the company making the product pays for the study that they're telling you is the study.
Absolutely. That is the most fucked up part about it. Yeah,
and it's like a study of 5 people, and one person said, maybe that made my nails grow, and we're like, that's it. That's the quote.
Well, pre-workout, it's funny that you mention it, is one of the worst when it comes to that. Pre-workout has an insane amount of, it's called pixie dusting, but like,
what did you call me?
No, that's not what it is. No, it's not a slur. But they just add like filler and sugar and all this like starch to whatever. Like. Yeah, and really what you're getting, it'll be like, this is a proprietary blend. What you're really getting from most pre-workouts is a rush of caffeine and maybe creatine, which is like a good tested thing, maybe some B vitamins, which have, and then a whole bunch of stuff you're just gonna piss out. Yeah. And if you just take those things on their own, drink a cup of coffee, take some creatine monohydrate, and then like take some B vitamins or whatever, congratulations, you got a pre-workout for 1/3 of the price that you paid for your like, artificially sweetened weirdo witch's brew.
Okay, God, excuse me.
I didn't mean to go personal.
It's okay, I didn't buy that one. On your little sleeve, what pride flag is that?
Oh, this is the Smart Wool pride flag right here. This is the outdoorsman pride flag.
Can you show the camera, please?
Yeah.
I kept looking, I was like, that looks just like a flag.
We took out all the fun colors on
You're not on camera, your arm's literally out of frame.
Oh. I can't, it's tiny.
For now.
Tiny, for now. But yeah, no, so wellness also bleeds in outside of products to, especially in Los Angeles, it's crazy how many boutique like stores and shops that sell meditation, obviously yoga. I mean that's like the biggest one, but like meditation, yoga, float tanks. There's all these things like what are the cryo freezing and stuff like that. And my take on it is very, it's difficult because it gets into these two separate roads that I think of when I think of wellness, where one is like sick. You're doing something that makes you feel good. I went to a Korean spa yesterday. You know what I mean? That's a form of whatever. I did an ice bath. I went to the sauna. It's a form of wellness, right? But then on the other side, you can get to a point where you're trying to like kind of
You're being so well, you're unwell.
You're biohacking kind of to this point where it's like, I need to be like this perfect animaton and everything needs to be set up exactly and my brain needs to be functioning perfect and perfect and perfect. And you spend so much time fixating on those things and doing that stuff. You don't actually spend time like living life and enjoying like how you feel in the moment and literally being well. And I think some people do fall into that, especially when you start with those things and you're like, I'm meditating every day, I'm taking an ice bath every day, blah, blah, blah. And I do those things. But
you take an ice bath every day?
I take a cold shower every day.
For wellness?
Yeah.
I do that for my skin, but not for wellness. 'Cause it keeps your pores closed, so you don't have...
No, it's good for your blood. It's good for a lot of things.
Look at me.
Yeah.
And that was in the Goop documentary. I skipped right over that.
Was it in the Goop documentary?
They do a whole travel thing with that guy that like swims in the Arctic or whatever.
I need you to just explain episodes of Goop to me, because I'm not allowed.
It's like a foreign language. I also think wellness is really interesting because now we're just saying everything is wellness. Workout clothes are included in wellness.
Oh my
Foods
God.
are wellness. I mean, now people and then we have the group of people that are taking wellness like to the extreme because there's an extremist in every group where we come and like people that are like, I'm gonna put my asshole in the sun for wellness.
Okay, that one I support. I'm with that because here's the thing: no one's making money off that. So that one I think is being like
propagated. Think people on TikTok are making money off that?
Okay, but that they're not like asking you to pay. They're just asking you to
do it.
They're asking you to do it, but they're not getting any monetary gain out of that. That comes from the heart. Okay, that's from the heart, baby. That person.
So I'm just. This is like, or like people be like, wake up every day and look at the sun. No.
Oh yeah, sun gazers. Yeah, well
What am I, a moth?
They. You know the whole thing where there was a documentary made about that, where it's called Eat the Sun, and it followed this guy who proposed that because he stared at the sun every day, he didn't have to eat food.
What is he, a plant?
Yeah, he's a plant.
Let me see. This is like, don't we know when you fly too close to the sun, what happens? You burn up and die, bitch. Like we are now we're playing with things that we're not even supposed to be looking at. You're not supposed to look at the sun, and now we're like, watch this. We figured it.
Yeah.
Like, no, you quit looking at the sun, freak.
Now going back to it though, that's why I support butthole sunning because I don't think that's hurting anyone. I don't think anyone's getting damage from that. If you feel better doing it, it's free.
Putting one of the sensitive, most light reduced areas of your body in the sun is probably the worst thing you can do. I mean, you know how much that's probably. I mean, sure, I bet it is absorbing vitamin D because it's like, what the fuck is happening? But like, I don't think that it's like. Could you imagine your asshole sunburning? Now you know what I do support? Butthole bleaching.
Interesting.
Just because I think that's a fun treat.
Yeah, it's a nice little treat.
But being outside, like, when do you fit that into your day?
Have you ever attempted a form of wellness and disliked it? Like you really hated it?
All of them.
Really? Oh, did you have one in specific?
Yeah. Well, every time we go to the gym, I'm like, this is misery.
I got waxed once.
Oh, how was that?
They were so rude to me at the place.
First of all, I am very hardcore. When I go into places, like even my laser place, I do a full interview beforehand. I'm like,
okay.
I will not pay you to be rude to me about this.
Yeah, that would have been smart.
And so I'm like, what's the experience? What's the review? What do you like? I'll just make things up sometimes, which this is lying, but I'll just be like, I went to another place and they were really rude. Are you guys like that here? Like, I'll just make the shit up. Because I will not be. You are not about to have me pay you $500 so you can zap me with a laser and then act like I'm the problem, bitch. This body hair you're taking off is for you.
Yeah. This is your job.
Yeah, but why were they rude to you?
So I showed up to the place and for the energy that I met with at the desk is very like literally rolled their eyes when I came to the front desk and was like, "Hi, I have an appointment." I swear to God, I'm not hypersensitive to this stuff. I'm actually like not even very observant. People have been rude to me and I just don't even notice. This was like so directly like, here, like this much money, which it was way. They charge men more than women, where it's like
because it does take more time.
I understand. They have coarser
body hair,
more time. You have to be careful, all that stuff.
They did probably react a little weird because there are, a plethora. I have a lot of friends that wax and stuff, and like there is so many stories of like men coming in and like being weird while they're getting waxed, like wanting to like or like getting which like most people like if you like fart or get an erection, those women aren't like. this is it, but like, because it normally doesn't happen to people, but they understand, like, there is like a I'm gonna step away, like, kind of thing, but like, some people go in for the intention of like being a fucking creep,
right?
And so like, some places don't even take men at all, which I think is for their own safety. I mean, which is, if you've had that many experiences, that you have to be like, just no thanks, no more, you keep your body hair.
But don't you have to have, like, I mean, I feel like gay fellas must have to go in there quite a bit, right?
I mean, I think gay people really like body hair.
Oh, interesting.
It's not all of them do. I mean, I'm sure some of them don't. I think it's all personal. I think I know I read an article once that like straight men, specifically straight married men, were like one of the highest like paying customer, not highest paying, the most, they come the most to get like their genitals lasered, the hair removed from like their balls and pelvis and stuff. And I'm like, okay, dads, like, I mean, like, what? I'm so confused with that. But anyways, first of all, what were you having waxed?
My ass.
Oh, yeah. You could have nailed that.
I mean, I'm not gonna fucking do. I barely shave my face. I'm not gonna trust myself doing anything. I'm getting a professional. There's no me. There's no home improvement.
Why were you getting your ass waxed? What was the storyline here?
My girlfriend.
She said, "This isn't too much."
No, she didn't say this is too much. I thought I'd surprise her with a nice clean ass.
Clean and unhairy are. This is. We're getting. I want to know what now. Did she? So you didn't have a conversation about this. You just said this is going to be the gift. This is the one.
God, okay. There's a real story here that I. Oh God.
Okay. You don't have to tell anything you don't want to. This is not CNN.
No. I'll. This is be good for the pod. So, me and my girlfriend, we're good, upstanding Christians, but we'll do a little ass stuff from time to time. You know what I mean? And I had a day where I biked to her house, and we kind of got right into things. And there was a, let's say, lack of cleanliness that I wasn't made aware of until after the fact, and I was mortified. And I was like, when I get embarrassed, I go into full like 5-alarm freak out mode. Same. Like, you know what I mean?
Which is why I have no body hair.
I'm like, I'll react. I'll be like, let's burn the fields here. Let's lay waste. Let's napalm whatever this problem is to an extent that it doesn't need to. So my reaction to that, like, I had a phone. I was like, hey, like, I just checked. Was everything cool down there? And she was like, it was a little, not what you wanted it to be, but that's fine. Like, she was very nice. And I was like, oh, I'm going to, like, get a surgeon to sew my ass shut. I was, like, so mortified. But instead, I just made a very hasty appointment to a waxing place. Right? Mm-hmm. So I'm already in this pretty vulnerable place.
Did you bike there too? Because that's the first problem.
No, hey, it wasn't a great idea. When I go through the steps, I was the one who was culpable for that. I drove to the place. I get out. The person at the front desk is rude to me. They're like, "Take your pants off." I'm like, okay. So I go in the room. I take my pants off. I'm like in the thing, and the woman comes in. Could not be more rude. Could not have felt more like a cow who's being milked or whatever. Just like on the table. Not like, hey, could you get on the table? It was on the table. Legs up. Not like that. No, not like that. Like literally.
Okay, that is like pretty standard because it is supposed to make you feel like it is not at all intimate. It's like it's a routine. So they do they are very like on fours, dude, like that. It's a very drill sergeant like. So that technically is a very common occurrence, unless you're at like a spa where it's like about like. But normally it is like that to keep you from thinking it's like weird or different. It's supposed to feel like a job,
right? But after, I mean, this is why like there was a lot of like, whatever, and then
that's bitchy.
And then at the end of it, they tell me not. So I get home. I call my girlfriend. I'm like, hey, I got waxed. She was like, oh, like, and I was like, oh, now I'm getting a workout. And she's like, you can't do that right after like it's bad. And I was like, no one there told me anything. They didn't tell me shit.
Well, they're not your caretaker.
But they fucking knew it was my first time there. I was plotted against, and they wanted me to suffer because they saw me come in and they go, this is the guy that caused all the problems in the world, and we're going to take it all out on him. And that's what they did. They wanted me to break out. That is really rude to be rude to you and to not give you any kind of aftercare instructions. That's really messed up. When they knew I was fucking up all the instruction, like they know I hadn't been there before. I mean, they could see it in my ass.
Yeah, and I mean, they were also probably like, why is this person just getting their ass waxed? And, like, not anything else. Like, that's a bold choice. Like, you're just wearing, like a pair of hairless, assless chaps. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, it's a little strange.
Listen. No, I'm being judged by you.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah. It's very...
I was judging you before the story started.
Sure. But, so that, I mean... That was my wellness story.
Also, you have a really super kind girlfriend if she's into doing any of that with you. Like, hooray for her.
Right, she is very kind. But, so wellness can go...
She is very kind.
Wellness can go wrong. I've also worked at a meditation center where people would come in and they would be so clearly insane.
Well, they need it the most.
No, it's hurting them because they're not using it as a way to get better. They're using it as this ego boost thing. You know what I mean? They're using it as this way to be
I'm so calm.
Yeah.
It's like when people weaponize therapy. Ooh. And people will be like, well, my therapist says that I'm allowed to say whatever I want in this conversation because my feelings are valid. And it's like, so are the person you're talking to. Like, yes. This is when people weaponize therapy, which is a form of wellness. Keeping it all together. When people do that, immediately, the minute someone says, my therapist said, well, that does not apply to me. That is for you. That's a lesson for you that you learned about yourself. Not to carry into conversations and be like, and now you need to do this for me because my therapist said, now you need to understand that I have emotions around this. That's, first of all, I know your therapist. And if they did tell you to speak to people like that, that's wild. Yeah. Because what you want to say in that is that I struggle with this thing. Would it be okay if we, and then you tell me the thing you need? To tell me your therapist is not my mom.
Right. It's
what if I said, well, my therapist said that I can say whatever I want to say. So now we're just back and forth.
It's like using an authority figure in a situation that does not call for it.
It's like taking all the responsibility off of yourself and being like, I can do whatever I want because I go to therapy.
Right.
Or to use some kind of trauma to be like, well, I was bullied, so I can be a big old bitch to everybody. It's like, no, you can't.
Right.
No, what are you going to the therapy for? Validation? Like, you know what I mean?
Literally, I mean, some people do. When you get into this conversation, people are like, oh, you're invalidating therapy. It's like, no, I think therapy is great for a lot of people.
Oh, I love therapy.
But there's nothing on the books that says all therapy is completely good and they're completely no. Some people misuse it. Yeah. Some people absolutely go into therapy with this thing in mind. Not all therapists are good. I've been to 3 and they were all pretty bad. And
this isn't even about therapists either. I mean, because people are people and they can all be bad. Yeah. But when it comes to when people have to be like, well, you can't say it about therapy. Therapy is great. The person doing it is misusing. You are the problem, not the therapy. The therapy is probably because 9 times out of 10, what I'm assuming is going on in there is a very logical conversation that this person is now leaving, and they're twisting into some kind of narcissistic shield to use against people.
Right.
Because having a bad therapist is normally we don't vibe. You're not getting me, I'm not getting you, unless that's not what you're talking about, and your therapist is saying do it.
I had a therapist say the most condescending thing any human being has ever said to me. I'm wrong a lot. I say a lot of wrong things. But I was talking to this woman I had just started saying, and I said something along the lines of whatever. It was during the pandemic, and I was like, oh, I saw one of my friends, but I felt fine about it because I was just seeing one person. I wasn't seeing I wasn't going to a party with 30 people, so I felt a little bit safer. And my therapist goes, I'm gonna give you some time to realize why you're wrong. And I was
what are you wrong about? I'm confused on what was the problem.
She was a person who I think watched a lot of news and would get news bites and sound bites and then just kind of regurgitate them as perfect fact. And I was I saw one friend who was a friend that I saw it was one of the 3 people that I saw. This was not during the height of things. This is when things were kind of, and it was all outside. And she was
this was during COVID.
It was during COVID.
Okay, got it. During lockdown. Got
it. And she was seeing one person and seeing 30 people is exactly the same. I'm that's just not, what are you talking about? And she was I'm going to give you time to realize why you're wrong on this. It's the most condescending thing any human being has ever said to me. I'm going to give you time to realize why you're wrong on this.
Then what am I paying you for?
That's what I'm saying. Why am I paying you?
Even if you are wrong, even if you were wrong, can you just tell me? That's why I'm here.
Right.
Can you just let me know if I'm wrong? Like, is that not what your degree's for? Like, tell me I'm wrong.
I know. It was
You know who has no problem telling me I'm wrong? Preachers, teachers, any ers.
Yeah, the ers. Yeah, that's what. It's no one whose name ends in pissed ever tells you why you're wrong. It sucks. No, but it was like this really shocking moment, and I saw her for so long because I was caught in this mindset of, well, this is a trained professional, so I must be fucked up for not taking to this therapy that I'm receiving. Like, I must be in the wrong. And I think some people fall into that, where it's like you get self-conscious because you're like, well, this is a professional. But then I started telling people, I had a friend who's a therapist, which thank God, because I told them what happened, and they were like, this is unheard of. Stop seeing this person.
And you did.
And I did.
I mean, I have a wellness story similar to that. I one time went to a nutritionist because I said, I don't know what I'm doing. And I went, and I was like, I sat there forever, first of all, because God forbid your appointment be on time at a doctor's office. Sure. I could not imagine a world where that happened. So, which is fine. I'm sure they're busy. But I sat there, and I was like, okay, this is going to be really embarrassing. I'm going to talk about everything that I'm eating and what I'm doing. And I really want to, like, be honest and get a real plan here. And so I wait, and I'm like, as you wait, you're like preparing what you're going to say to the doctor so you don't sound stupid, because I'm the person who's like, my toe hurts, and they're like, which toe? And I'm like, the little one. So I have no idea what it's called, I'm like, sure I have the name. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, when they come in, so they get in there, I go through this whole spiel about, like, it's like 30 minutes long, and the doctor's just listening. He's just like, the nutritionist. He's like, cool. And then when I get done, he goes, well, you know what I think you should do? Just, like, eat some Sara Lee bread. That was all he said to me. That was the whole... He did not give me any other information.
What the fuck is Sara Lee bread?
Well, Sara Lee is the lady who makes the bread. And it's like a diet bread. And that was what he told me to eat. Without missing a beat, so stone cold faced, he turned to me, he went, just like eat Sara Lee bread. Try that. Like, it's for every meal, like in place of something. Like, what should I do? Should I invest in Sara Lee? Like, should I buy stock? That's not a good... Even if that was helpful, like, how do I use the information?
That guy was just Sara Lee. That was Sara Lee in a disguise. In a
undercover
doctor's costume. That was an undercover boss Sara Lee.
I wasn't even an employee.
And
I was like, cool.
So great. That is one of the craziest stories I've ever heard. And then as I
was leaving, said they can bill you at the front for my copay. And I was thinking, like, if I was not a polite angel of a person, I would lose my fucking mind in here.
I mean, his medical advice to you was to change one thing in your diet to a different kind of bread. Just change my whole diet
to Sara Lee bread, I guess.
Just all Sara Lee bread.
That's what I'm assuming. Who knows? It's a secret. And then I was like, okay, anything else? And he was like, I would just start with that. And I was like, this is great. What is this, like an ad? Or what are you, like a YouTube sponsor? Like, what are we doing here?
I mean, that guy
He also offered me Centramine as I was leaving as well.
What's that?
It's the weight loss drug that, like, burns it makes you not hungry.
That's what it is.
It makes you not hungry. And I was like, but will I be hungry full of Sara Lee bread anyways?
I think that sounds like a pill mill to me. That sounds like a dude who just is hawking whatever kind of diet
product. Who tells you that as you're halfway down the hallway, like, oh, also, do you want a pill? Like, what? And I was like, it wasn't like in a strip mall. Like, it was like a doctor office.
That's literally what would happen in college when I was leaving, like, my drug dealer's place after I bought weed. And he would be like, oh, by the way, we have ecstasy too, if you're into that.
Yeah, he was what do you need? Like, it was true. I mean, he opened up a trench coat, and he had, like, watches, glasses, Doritos. I was like, I'm good, I guess. I'm just going to go get I'm going to run to Target and buy my Sara Lee bread. Now, every time I see Sara Lee bread, I'm like, that's the hero, babe.
God, I mean, that guy went to school. I guess he went to school.
And then I was thinking about it. I was like, maybe he's just so over over being like, eat fucking vegetables, you idiot.
Right.
That he's just like, eat some Sara Lee bread.
I will say, I have a lot of friends where it's like, I'm not a dietitian. I don't know anything, but, like, I have a basic understanding of nutrition in a way where, like, they'll sometimes be like, what do I do? How do I do this? Blah, blah, blah. But I will have friends come up to me who have problems with, like, eating in whatever direction. And they'll be like, yeah, so, like, they'll give me all their, like, issues with eating. And then they'll be like, so, like, what do you think? I should, like, eat more vegetables and fruits and stuff. And they'll give me the actual answer to their problem. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, all right, and that's the whole conversation.
And you were like, that'll be $20.
Yeah, I should start charging them. I should start charging them for that for sure.
I mean, because my whole thing is like I am someone who like I cook all the time. Like I do eat pretty well. Like I don't eat a bunch of bad stuff. I did not understand. I mean, this will sound stupid on my part, but I just didn't understand like metabolism, calories. I didn't understand any of that, and I just wanted someone to like really explain that and be like, okay, if I'm eating a healthy fat, like, can you kind of break down why, what it does, where should I put it, when should you eat protein? Like, that's what I wanted, and I just got cell wheat bread. But then I found that stuff out later on my own, because you can find anything on the internet.
I feel like he was being homophobic or something.
I wish that was the case, so I could just be like, now I'm going to own this nutrition shop.
Yeah, you should get the girl bread. Go get the girl bread, actually. Yeah. He just, that whole the appointment was him just dunking on you.
Yeah. Literally, he was just like, oh, do you know Dorothy bread? Do you like Mary bread? He said, so what do you eat, Poppers? And you're like, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Poppers have a lot of calories. You got to chill out on that. God, yeah, that's the hard thing about when you go to like a professional or like a seeming professional, because it takes so many steps just to get out the door to try to make something better, because it's like, I think we are a culture of like fucking repress it and like keep it in and do not seek help until like you absolutely have to. At least with me, that's how I am. And then
you are a culture.
When I finally go to like the doctor with my broken arm or whatever, I'm like, hey, can you help me with this? And then to have them be a complete like dumbass is such like a knock in the gut, because it's like
Wow.
This is supposed to be my journey of getting better.
At least your dumbass is waxed.
That is true.
I mean,
thank God.
Do you have anything else to say about wellness? Because I think I've ranted enough, but I do have another really good one.
Do I have anything else to say about wellness? No, I mean, I think that we've covered like the goods and the bads of it. Overall, everybody should seek like some form of wellness, but there's a lot of trap doors that'll fuck you on the road.
And something else I want to say is you do your wellness and you do it. You don't be pushing your wellness around everybody.
Don't push
be coming
your
to places and be like, "Can I sage your house?"
Oh,
maybe I don't want that.
My God!
I mean, sage is the moment. It's the one, and that's great. But if I don't want it, then I don't need to hear the benefits of it.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I own a computer. I carry it around every day in my pocket. If I want to know about sage in my house, I'll look it up. Don't come over here with that.
Unless it's crazy, because I love hearing I love you being like, you know what would help this is if you sun your asshole. Then I'm like, you know what? Let's sit down for tea. I want to get into this.
You were like, I am really into assholes lately. But yeah, I just think that's it. Just do your wellness. Leave everybody alone. And have a good time doing it.
Have a good time doing it.
Have a good time.
Have a good time. Snort that sage.
Have a good time doing it.
Oh, yeah.
What did you bring to the table today?
You know what? My question to you is, I'm trying to think of exactly how to phrase this. What do you think about minimalist home decor?
Oh, my God. Are you asking me this because my house is a museum of things?
Well, I'm asking you this because for many years I would call myself a minimalist when really I was a idiot who didn't know how to make my environments nice. Right?
Manimal.
A manimal. Is that a word?
I just made that up.
I like that. That's good. I was a manimal. Of
course you do.
And
merge.
I was wondering what would you walk into someone's apartment and like the walls are blank, they have a bed, they have a chair, like all the necessities are there, but there's no decoration. Because you're very like decoration minded. When you see that, is there like a judgment or is there a understanding?
Well,
what are your thoughts on that?
I would say I think aesthetically it is very pleasing in photographs. I think there's a lot of images where like less kind of looks like more, it looks very chic and like it reads really well on like YouTube when you have kind of less things. Everything's like white and beautiful and like because then you and whatever you're doing on camera really pops. So I think we're seeing it a lot and people are mimicking a lot because it does look very good on camera. I personally am not necessarily like, I'm not really good at home decor or decorating. I just buy things I like because I live here.
Right.
And so my concept is I want all the things I love and I want to be able to see them at any time. And that's kind of what this house is I just put things out and that's what I want to see and that's how I like it. So I do think minimalism, I'm a maximalist. I'm like more is more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then if I want to change it, I'll get rid of it. and I don't mean that in a sense of like I'm just buying bullshit, but like I want a real book. I don't want a bunch of ebooks. I'm a library. I need to be trapped by a beast. I'm in a library. Like that's what so I do think I can understand a person better when I go in their house and they have more things. I can look around and be like, okay, I'm getting a vibe of what's going on here. When you have no things, I think like this is real sad, or I think like maybe they're a minimalist, but then like most people that I know that are minimalist are not. Like they are the heroes of excess. It's the most drinking, you just don't have shit. You just don't have anything, which is fine, but like don't sugarcoat it. Like you just don't want anything. You don't care about the way your house looks because you are an outside. You get all of your energy from being out and about and doing things and having fun and going places, and that's cool. That's great. But after big days, I like to go home and be like, these are my things. When we were in the pandemic and we were locked, I was like, people were like, oh no, it's horrible. And there were aspects that were bad, of course. Like no one should be locked away that long, I don't think. But also I'm like, this is where all my favorite stuff is. It's like, if I can't be happy here, I really fucked up. So this is where I live in this conversation is I very much was the guy who was like, oh, I'm just a minimalist. Like, I just don't need a lot of things to be happy. And it's like, that can be true. But then when I started like making my apartment a little bit nicer, I'm not talking about, I don't want to give people the wrong impression. When you walk into my apartment, you don't go, oh my God, a captain of industry lives here. No, you walk in there and you go, oh, some dumb, like 27-year-old who's on like the first stages of hanging up some pictures on the wall. I do have a screenshot of one of your videos where in the background there's just like a tapestry of like a woman and a dog. A woman's ass, yeah. That is like, I'm like, what? That is the funniest tapestry I've ever seen because I'm like, this is like out of a movie. Yeah, it's a naked woman walking, I believe, a hyena. And what was your thought process when you hung that up? I thought it fucking looked sick, and also I was being berated by a woman friend of mine for not having enough decoration. So I was like, well, I've had this tapestry for a while, and I'll hang it up. And I hung it up, and then I took a picture of it, and I sent it to her, and she was just like, You're beyond saving. That is really funny that you did that, though. Yeah, and her response was very funny. You're beyond saving. I mean, but like even when you bought it, like my brain immediately I couldn't even focus on what you were doing in the video because I was just like, how did we get this? Like, how did we get here? Like with this, like you were just walking down like the boulevard of Florida after some drinks, and you saw like a kiosk of the tapestries. Boulevard of Florida. That's I don't know where you are. The Florida Boulevard, baby. Like, Alligator Alley. What was how did you even get the thing to begin with? Like that was a full thought out plan. Well, so my buddy was getting rid of some stuff, and he brought me over to his place. And he laid out like a bunch of really nice shit, and then that blanket was over in the corner, and I was like, "It's a blanket." Well, it's a tapestry. It's a tapestry. The tapestry was over in the corner. If you hung a blanket on the wall, we have some real conversations. And I couldn't see anything except the woman's ass, and I was like, "What about that?" And he was like, "Oh, we're throwing that away." And I was like, "Can I see it?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then he opened it up, and I saw it was a pantless woman walking a Wolverine, and I said, "Well, I have to have that." And I had the option of getting, like, nice pictures or whatever, but the heart wants what the heart wants. I mean, honestly, it's a really cool, like, piece of art. It's a cool piece. Because I'm assuming that she was down with it. Yeah. But, like, having that framed, like, that could be the shit. You know what I mean? Like, when I was like, this could be really cool if it was framed. Right. If we get a studio, we'll put it in the studio. But I am also, like, me personally, tapestries on the wall... That's a big red flag for me. Oh, why is that? Because it's a blanket. It is a blanket. It's a piece of cloth on the wall. What are you doing? It does not look good. See, this is the fucking problem. This is why, and you know what? This is gonna be Dan's stand up for the straights segment. Okay. I think straight people are like, we don't like it either. All right, no. Straight guys love that shit. They love that shit. Okay, they see that on the wall and they say Dan's a free man. Okay. You tell us. Have they told you that? Yeah, they do. They say you're a free man. You tell us to decorate. You tell us, hey, we don't like your bare walls. We don't like the fact that you live in an apartment with one fold-out chair and an Xbox and a television. We don't like that. That's all that it takes to make you happy, right? They go. We're angry that all that it takes to bring you joy is to have a fold-out chair, an empty box of pizza,
and like 4 video games and an Xbox and a television, and that's it. So you tell us to decorate, and I go, okay, I'm gonna decorate, and then you say I don't like the way you decorate. Hey, fuck you.
You're not decorating. You're hanging shit up on the wall.
That's decorating to me. Okay?
No.
That is decorating to me. That's what decoration is. You take shit and you
so
put
you're
it
telling
on the
me
wall.
you want to put that tapestry up, put a little table out, and invite everybody over for dinner. And you're going to eat dinner over this lady's ass.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have shawarma.
That's a jerk off poster, and you know
it is not a jerk off poster. It's fucking art.
That's. First of all, I am the first one to be like, naked people is art.
Yeah.
But I am telling you, that is a jerk-off poster. Maybe not for you, but that's what it was intended for. It's like when you go to Walmart, and there's like... And I've been to Walmart. And it's like when you go to Walmart, and you flip through those posters, and it's just like hot women on like cars. It's like, this is not an aesthetic. This is porn. And that's cool. But like, in your living room, bold choice. I'd rather you hang up actual porn. That's at least chic and cool.
That would be sick. And
Yeah.
that's going to be the next step. Listen, I'm sorry. You unleashed the beast. I'm now a decoration master. I'm going to have porn on the wall. I'm going to have...
framed porn on the wall?
Framed porn on the wall. I'm going to have pictures of Corvettes just over my bed. I'm going to have...
The bed is a Corvette. You're going to have a car bed.
The bed is a Corvette.
You said this thick decorating.
Oh, man. Yeah, you unleashed the beast. You told me time and time again. A woman I hooked up with once admonished me for my lack of decoration. That's why I actually started.
Your word of the days you throw out is my fave.
I think I use that right. Sometimes I don't. But yeah, I'm not gonna hear shit from people because they're like, oh, straight guys don't decorate. Straight guys don't decorate. You know what's gonna happen when straight guys decorate? Sometimes you're gonna get a hyena being walked by a chain by a naked woman.
I'm telling you, you frame that art. It is cool as shit.
I don't like the judgment.
But let me just be very clear. This is not a straight people thing. There's some gay people with some ugly ass shit in their house.
Absolutely.
I had a friend who gay married to a man. Can you believe? So in his house, everything peacock feathers, fake diamonds laying on top of like random. I was like, this is horrific. It looks bad. I was like, this is. I know you think you're like HGTV homo, but you're not. This looks bad. And it's always, especially like in the South, there's like a very specific kind of like...
Wait, did you just say HGTV homo?
Yeah. A lot of gays just think that they are HGTV, and it's like, you have bad taste. You have bad taste. You do not, being gay does not give people good taste or good fashion. You know how many gay people I see in like rainbow flag t-shirts and chokers from the 90s? Like, you don't look good. And that sounds bitchy, but I mean it that way.
Well, you're talking about Harry Styles.
No, Harry Styles, someone's doing that for him.
Would you say he's a HGTV homo?
No, we're not allowed to say what he is. He has rich people privilege. He doesn't have to diverge his sexuality.
Ah, interesting.
Which is only something rich people don't have to do. The rest of us come out every single day.
Every day of your life.
So that's fun for everyone else. But yeah, I mean that people are like, oh, gay people have good taste. No, they don't. Some gay people are literally in. You know how many gay people are in cargo shorts and a fucking Under Armour t-shirt and think they are the height of fashion.
I love that look, though.
You're sick.
I love a Republican dad look. That's cool. Under Armour t-shirt, Oakley's goatee is powerful.
Yeah, I want to stop this right now. Gay people are not the height of. Let me be very clear. Some of them, they're the moment.
Oh yeah,
and they are the everyone you're looking at. That is usually a woman or a gay that has made that happen.
Totally.
But in the real world, everybody be looking like shit, okay? Like, This is not a straight person thing. We used to... There are some straight people that are... Honestly, there's some straight men that I think are a little too into their home decor, and I'm like, I feel like I can't be in here. I have a friend who was dating a guy, and she's a very fancy friend. Like, she's like the one. Like, should have a Grammy, an Emmy. Like, she's been on TV. She's like a moment. And she was dating a man, just regular man, which is fine. I love that. I love when people are dating just... people, because I think that's better than dating a bunch of celebrities or whatever.
Right.
But he told her when she would come over, he would be like, you need to take your shoes off and put it in this tiny square that he had taped off.
Yeah, the take the shoes off, I understand. The tiny square, that's serial
and
killer.
And she set them down,
energy.
and he was like, well, in the line. Like, they
no.
And so I'm like, you've taken home decor. Like, you're too attached to whatever's going on in this house. Like, it has to be livable.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes people will, like, spill water and stuff, and they'll be like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, that's what I mop the floor with. Like, let's calm down.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, man. Yeah, no. People who take... Well, it's just like... you walk into someone's house, and if it looks like an Apple store, I'm not gonna be friends with you. I don't know what it takes mentally to like keep all that stuff perfectly in or whatever, but part of me is assuming it's the part of your mind that feels empathy, and you're using it to keep your knickknacks in a row.
Oh, really?
I get scared. I'm like, if you're putting this much mental energy and focus into like everything is, I'm not saying people who keep a tidy house, that's fine, but if it's like
I know what you mean.
Anally perfect and everything has to look like a movie set and da 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 da.
Yeah, like when people have those contraptions, like hold your phone and your Apple Watch and your earpods and your speakers, and you put a little book here, and I'm like, this is like robotic. This is like
If you do that,
Xenon Girl of the 21st century.
I'll say, if you do that, you've never experienced love for another human being.
Or yourself.
Or
because
yourself.
One thing I love to do is throw my shit around and lay down and not give a shit about it. You coming over to film these, and this being a studio now, I've had to clean this apartment more than I've ever had to do in my whole life.
It's well, you know what? Let me backtrack just slightly. I think that it's like, oh, it's valiant and it's not hurting anyone that you're keeping your apartment in such good order. But it's the same thing with me as someone who's like always says the right thing and is never shit talking anyone, and is always happy and is never showing any negative emotion. It's like, listen, if you want to be Gandhi, great, and that's a great person to be. I don't want to hang out with Gandhi. I don't want to, like, Gandhi is awesome and has done a lot of great things or whatever. This is just an example, like, of a person who has the image of, like, perfection and, like, nothing wrong and, like, perfect peace or whatever. I'm not going to get
like
drinks.
Anna Nicole Smith.
Anna Nicole Smith, exactly. I'm not going to get drinks with that person. I'm not going to, like, we're not going to be buddy-buddy, because that's just, like, not a, like, I feel like the chances of having a human-to-human interaction with that person, because
you're missing emotions.
You're missing vulnerability. I think vulnerability should exist in your living space as well.
That is true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've gotten over that a little bit. Like, now I'll have some dishes in the sink, and I'll be like, this is just, I have to, fuck it. Like, I mean, what are you going to do? Be mad at me that I ate off these dishes?
Yeah.
And if you are mad at me, leave!
I knew dudes, I would do jiu-jitsu with dudes who were, like, former army guys, and they were just, like, everything is like, and that makes sense because it's kind of more drilled into their head that like everything
also,
is
there's
like
a rhyme and a reason
in order, and there's a rhyme and a reason and stuff, and like that I was with, and like I watched a UFC event at one of those guys' houses, and their house was like pretty put together or whatever, but then I saw the shoes next to the door, and there was like a bunch of mud on them, and there's like those little things out of order where I'm like, all right, we can be like, there's a little bit of something here. There's a little bit of give and take. We're not dealing with like an automaton here.
And for a lot of people, like their house also, I totally understand if like you have one of those like sensory things where like you can't see clutter. It's like really hard.
That's
for you.
fine.
It is your house, so you do whatever you want.
I'm with that.
But I think when you invite people over to your house, you've made an agreement that they're not going to be you. They're not you. They're not going to live the way you live. They're not going to come into your space.
A statement.
The way that you come in. Like, you are now saying, you, other human, come into my space. And you have to have some leeway. Now, granted, if you're a person who's coming in and they're wearing their muddy boots on your white road, if they're doing like stupid shit that's rude, then that's different. And you can be like, hey, fuckface, you quit it right now. But in general,
hey, easy.
That's me. I'm just like, see, I'm not Gandhi. You can hang out with me because I'm very nice, and I'll take I'll listen to all the sides, but I will be like, you sound stupid,
right?
And so that's what I'm like. That's the deal you're making. So you can't be like a psycho about it,
right?
But that's really all I have to say about that.
What do you have something for me?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, what do you think what do you think this obsession with nostalgia is that we have? Because I was thinking the other day, I was like, did you notice like nostalgia when it was quote unquote marketed to like old people older than us, like an older generation, like maybe like boomers or whatever they're called, like the nostalgia that they kind of give to them is like, remember the way America was, remember whenever women were your property, and everyone's like, yes. But then for us, nostalgia, they're like, the way they market nostalgia to our generation is like, remember that TV show you watched when you ate macaroni and hot dogs? Like, and it's like, we're just like, if you went to a Hot Topic now, it is just a box of everything you lived through as a child. It is just prying off of like better memories, like before you had to buy your own clothes and pay bills. Like, it's like the way we market nostalgia to different generations is so specific to what was important to them.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, like, is there a time limit on our nostalgia? Because right now we're remaking all the movies we watched, all the shows we watched. But there's a whole other group that is that going to now be their nostalgia? Are they going to be like, the remake of Hocus Pocus is their nostalgia? Or they're like, have totally different, like, what, you know what I mean? Like, how long does nostalgia last as a marketability tactic? Because for millennials, that shit is, everyone I see is wearing a cartoon shirt from the 90s. They're wearing, even fashion repeats itself like that. So I do think nostalgia is a very profitable thing, but it's very confusing on how we get new stuff because of it.
It's a really great question. I think about this all the time because nostalgia is like very entrenched. It's very deep. So I'll take two. One is the marketing side of nostalgia, right? It benefits studios to market nostalgia to a generation, and the reason being is because it's cheaper to make something that's already been made. It's easier to make it because you already have an ingrained fan base for this thing. You're not really taking a risk. So it's a risk-averse way to make money. Investment-wise, nostalgia is a very safe bet for studios. That's the corporate side of it.
But how long is that cycle? Because can you do it 2, 3, 4 times? Because you have to have the same nostalgia ingrained. If the second movie does not generate the nostalgia for a younger generation, you can't make that again. If that makes sense.
You can't make that again, but again, like it's a safe investment. So if they try again, they still will generally get like a good pop off of it. It's really crazy. But then you have this level of nostalgia that's like hat on a hat on a hat, where it's like Spider-Man.
I think that's a great example of how it should be done. Those are all separate movies, separate people, separate. Yes. It's different stories.
Yes.
Whereas like a remake of something or a retelling, you have to really do it well. But also, I will say there's plenty of like retellings and remakes that I think are lovely little films.
Sure.
But the people react as if like they have castrated the original. I'm just like, you are an adult. You know this is not what you watched as a kid. It cannot be the same movie, or they would just play the same movie, you idiot.
Well,
like you have to have some give and take again with that. Like you know it's not the same story.
This is the other thing I was going to get into, which is the interpersonal side of nostalgia. It takes two to tango. Company can't market another. Yeah, you do it by yourself. You do it in your cluttered apartment. So the way nostalgia seems to work on the buyer's end. Okay, so I think people are more, and there's a big group of people like who are older who are just bathed in nostalgia. Like they are still into the stuff they were into when they were children.
Nightmare Before Christmas wallets.
Harry Potter stuff.
Yeah, which is cool and fine.
It's cool. So here's my theory on the psychology of that a little bit. Our markers of adulthood are having a family. These are like sort of ingrained American stereotypical, but culturally they are like, I think it's hard to undo that in our head. So I think in like the psychosphere of America, it still is the thing that we use to denote whether or not someone is an adult or an adolescent, is like these things: owning a home, having a family, having a stable job. And in the way that things have been going, like economy-wise, the way that the country is, what are 3 things that people are much less likely to have? A family, a home, a stable job. So nostalgia, I think, is really important because, like, I think psychologically there's a lot of adults in the United States that do not feel as though they are adults because they don't have those stereotypical, like, American markers of adulthood. So they're more likely to kind of like go into the void of nostalgia and find comfort there because they haven't felt psychologically as though they've progressed into adulthood.
Which I think is totally fine. I think that's it makes sense. I do it. I definitely love nostalgia as well. Who doesn't? But I think that like, I do think we're kind of doing ourselves a disservice when we're not elevating the nostalgia. Like I love taking nostalgia and using it as a reference for something new. Or being like I love when they like take a movie and they're referencing other really popular films in a way that is completely new and not like on the nose.
Sure.
Like that Netflix show they just did, Do Revenge. Did you watch that?
No.
There's lots of like little nods to like Heathers or Cruel Intentions or these movies that were really popular, Clueless. Like, but they're retelling. They're not retelling the stories and they're not copying them. It's just a new version of that I think did a really fantastic job of being like, here's things you like, we're taking the experience and now we're giving you something new.
Right.
Which I think that can be done with anything. I mean, you even if it's a cartoon you love, there are people that take inspiration from a cartoon they love and they make a complete fashion line. You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah.
I'm not saying you have to do all that, but I'm just saying there is a way to elevate those things that is not. My point is, I think that sometimes capitalism, for lack of a better word, thinks that we're stupid, and I guess we are because we buy this shit. But to be like Harry Potter T-shirt, Harry Potter, like every month they do one. It's like I don't need any more of these. Like, can you give me something different? Well, that's just me. I don't need. Maybe other people need them all. But
no, I would go as far as to say I don't think capitalism ever has had a lot of trust in the consumer, which if you're going just for like monetary bottom line, which is why I'm saying like this is where you get into this thing where art has been so deeply commodified. It's not that it wasn't commodified before, it's always been commodified, but like those studios have gotten bigger, those corporate interests have gotten larger over time. Like that's just the case. There's not as many directors who are huge directors, like big directors who are interested in taking on like giant new challenges as there used to be. This is just the way film has gone, and it's one of those things where we need to like all accept, unless there's like a renaissance, which there very well could be in film and TV and art, where we go, we're gonna risk it as like consumers. We're gonna risk watching something new, going after something different, like. And seeking that stuff out.
Yeah, that's the big one. I don't think consumers understand you vote with your money. Every time you go see a movie that's why there's so many great Marvel movies, because people go to watch them. They're actually going to see them.
Yeah, they are.
And that's not to say that like Marvel's better than every other movie, but they have capitalized on appealing to children, to adults. They're funny. They're up so many things at one time. And they're intriguing. And so like, but like if you see them, if you want more movies about plus size people, or if you want more movies about queer people, you have to go see them when they're made, because that tells studios, oh, we can profit off that. That sounds gross and shitty to make people's lives and stories into money, but that's just how it works. And so if you go like with Bros, they're saying Bros, like this movie that Billy Eichner has bad opening, and it's because people aren't going to, they're not showing up to see it. And that one comes from like comfort. We can do a lot of things from our home. We think we can wait for it to come out or stream. But that tells studios like this is not profitable, and it makes it harder for there ever to be another one.
Some of it also though comes from like, I think those stories of marginalized people or historically marginalized people are also falling under this unfortunate like example of commodification and
trauma. They love to just show trauma
and to show trauma, but it's like it's still like, even if there is like basic representation, which is like important in the first step, a lot of that is still kind of buried under like interests of the studio. So the studio will be like, well, how can we water down this story? How can we commodify the story? I'm an idiot when it comes to like movies and films and like seeing new things and stuff, but recently, like over the last year, I've kind of gotten back into it. I've watched like some classic films and stuff like that, and there really is something. I think like film buffs and stuff can be way too up their own ass about like, well, I mean, it's nuts talking to some of them, but there is.
I knew a person that used to carry around a list of their top 100 favorite movies in their wallet.
They're now, and those people,
and they would pull it out and start as if anyone wanted to fucking hear it.
Those people almost never have good movies on that list too, which
also,
is very
it's just
funny.
like those, because you have a list does not mean they're good movies. That's just movies you like.
Right.
Like if you ask me my favorite movie, I'm like The Craft, Jennifer's Body. Like those are cinematic miracles, but like that's the fucking movie I like. And what do you want me to do? You want me to lie to you? You want me to be like, I love Shawshank Redemption? I don't. It was traumatic. I don't want to see it. Like I don't want to watch that. And like I think that I do think it's really important though for people to like go support things that they want to see more of, because you can't complain about there not being more of something and then not put your money where your mouth is. Like, you know, like if you, even if it's things like live comedy, if you want more lesbian comics, you have to go see them when they perform live. That everything is about ticket sales, money sales. Like that is shitty and it's bad that it's like that. But you do have to kind of like share the post you see. You have to do your part, because you know this from social media. People be like, how come you're not a movie? Why don't you have a TV show? How come it's like, because that's not up to me, it's up to you. There has to be you have to be sharing and supporting and doing other things. You can't go up and be like, well, I don't understand why, this girl I follow didn't play Wonder Woman. It's like, or didn't play, the girl isn't in Euphoria. It's like, because one, they weren't at that table. No one brought them to the table for that, or maybe they didn't get it. And secondly, like, there is nothing to tell studios, which are essentially banks, that you are worth investing in, because you're not doing your part as the that sounds really weird to say you're not doing your part in someone else's career, but you know what I mean.
No, I'm with you. Okay, so I agree with everything you're saying, and I'll add a caveat. As long as those people, like, if you want whoever and whatever you are, if you're a conservative and you want to see more like conservative stuff in movies, if you're a gay person, you want to see like gay people represented in movies.
Put their money where their mouth is. That's why they get so much.
That does happen a lot, but
that's why I think that's why country music singers win so many of those like voting shows, because people in the South where I'm from, or Middle America, they go home, they watch those shows, and they vote.
Perfect example. There's been a lot of talentless motherfuckers in what, like, I'm saying this is across the board when you're talking about like representation, whatever kind of representation you're talking about. There's a lot of talentless motherfuckers that profiteer off of that because they know people will. Like, if you're like whatever, some country music singer, and you're like,
not to say they're not talented. They can
there's a lot of there's a ton of talented country singers.
People will back them up.
But then there's talentless. It's kind of like our conversation last episode, where we're like, a sign of like a person you can get along with is someone who can criticize something that's like on their side, quote unquote, but that is clearly without like merit, without substance. And it's like there's a lot of great country music still being made. There's a lot of substanceless country music, but just because those country singers and stuff align themselves politically with that side, motherfuckers will still give them money, still vote with their dollars, like you said. And it's a difficult. I'm not even saying this to like prescribe any sort of course of action, because there's really nothing you can do about that except like be aware that like exploitation happens at the highest levels of this shit, and you need to just be like, I mean, the conscious consumer thing is tough because they'll shove whatever they want down your throat and you'll just take it. But it's like being able to.
It is very hard. It's hard to be a conscious consumer too sometimes, but it does really matter. And I think representation really matters. Like I remember in The Walking Dead, you know, like I said, my dad's handicapped, and like that never has affected us. Like we don't really think about it because that's just, it was that way. So it doesn't cross my mind. But I remember growing up, I was constantly searching for like, I mean, I would watch 4 seasons of something to see one gay character. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, or like anything like that, just to feel like you were wrong. And I remember when The Walking Dead, like the original first one was on, they had that older guy that like lost his leg, but he was still, like, he became handicapped in the show, but he like was still very useful to the group. And I remember my dad watching that, and I just remember thinking, it like clicked in my head. I was like, this is probably the first time it's the first time I've ever seen a movie where there's like a handicapped character that's like not holding back a group, especially in a movie like that where you're running from zombies and stuff. And I was like, that's probably so cool to my dad to see someone, because that's very much like my dad. My dad could do all that gun shit and plants and crops. He knows all about that. So I'm like, this is probably like one of the first times my dad's seen like himself on television, and I'm not saying he's like a zombie fighter, but you know what I mean?
Right, no,
and
yeah.
Like, and like little things like that.
Oh wait, you're not saying your dad is a zombie fighter?
I'm not.
Oh wow.
But he could be
Wait, let me change my mind.
You know what I mean? But like those little things matter. Like people are like, who cares if there's a redheaded doll? Redheaded little kids. Like, what do you mean? Like, it's so silly to think like that's not a problem because you can go in a grocery store and see 50 of you on a magazine cover. It's because you're not aware of the problem. Anyone that has felt like they don't fit into like societal standards is at all times, I will guarantee you, looking for themselves somewhere. In every movie, I mean, queer people do it to the point where they're just making movies queer that aren't even supposed to be queer. They just taken a claim to something and found themselves mostly in female characters here and there, because they're like, that's the closest thing I can get to someone. Not saying that they're like women, but I'm saying like a lot of times in movies, female characters have struggles of like being underestimated or like being in a man's world or blah blah, and so like they can like they'll twist and adapt that to fit them, to fit their narrative, because you have to, because they're not making movies before then about you, or like
or in music,
or like you know, little black girls for years and years and years, and still kind of today watch, or not even black girls, if you're not white, would watch princess movies and just have to like that, would find a way to relate to this white princess because that was all they had to relate to. And so I do think that when it is really important when you want more of something to go out and support that. And I understand we don't have money to throw around, so that's fine. But like liking videos, sharing things, like those things really do impact people's careers. They really do.
Yeah.
It shows what people are. It shows the people that have money, that have the opportunity to give you more platforms or whatever, that people want to see this stuff.
Yeah.
So that's how YouTube became so popular, because people are like, oh, I'll find what I want to see on here.
That is, yeah, the kind of like customization of that. Yeah, that's interesting, especially when you said that like a lot of gay kids have to find their representation in women characters, which is why Azalea Banks has had the career that she has.
That's not a lie, really.
Really? I mean, yeah, she's.
I mean, fucking, some people just also love the drama on the trauma, so they're very
she's incredible.
But okay. So, anyways, we're gonna skip over that. And
I can't say that.
I just wouldn't.
I can't say Azalea. Oh, why?
Well, I mean, because all she does is she just says crazy stuff like faggot all the time, and she's like being a monster to everyone. She's not like a positive person.
Oh yeah, no, she's not positive. I'm saying incredible in the same way both like art and a tsunami can be incredible.
Yeah, I mean, she got some good songs. That's not when we moved to. That's just the truth.
It's interesting.
And then the gays love a good song.
It's true.
But I mean, yeah, in general, like I do think that. I mean, of course, of course, there are gay people that did related to males. There are plenty of them. I'm not saying that they're all into women. No. I don't want anyone to take this clip and be like, see, gay people, I think they're women. Like, right. That's not at all the intention. Like, I'm sure there's just as many football playing gays. They have movies to watch. They have Remember the Titans, so good for them. Right. Of course, there's no gay Remember the Titans, but, you know.
Damn. Imagine if there was. I mean, all that would have to happen is the kiss with sunshine would have to just last a little bit longer.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's gay people, they'll be like, Top Gun. They're like, this movie's gay. And you're like, no. And they're like, we decided because you won't give us a movie, so we're just going to take your fucking movies. We're taking your movies. Yeah. You're like, you don't want to give us a gay film? We're making all the movies gay.
That's really funny.
I mean, gay people will just claim things that you're just like, what? And they'll be like, that's ours. This is our song. This is our thing. Iced coffee. Like, they're just claiming shit.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Yeah, with
lack
of representation, like representation will be found one way or another.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point, and yeah, I do agree. I mean, and in the beginning it will be messy. It's like there has certainly been a lot of movies with representation in mind, and then the movie doesn't necessarily deliver, but. I guess I definitely see both points where it's like you want the product to be good, but also like I'm not like one of these nihilistic people who's like, well, fucking, what does it matter if there's representation? It's like obviously that is a huge component to things moving forward, is like not Xing people completely out of stories just for a profit bottom line.
It's a more interesting story when there's different people.
I agree with you.
And also, let me be very clear. It's not just about representation. It's about accurate, good representation. Because nowadays, people will movies just be throwing in. They'll be like, just out of nowhere, a character will be like, "Well, I'm a polyamorous, bisexual lesbian."
That's the shit I'm talking about.
That's not even. First of all, you've obviously never met another human that's not straight, because no one is going into no one. I'm sure. I mean, let me not say no one, because I'm sure there is a nut job out there doing that. But the majority of people are not walking into rooms like, "And I'm gay."
Right.
Like, it's not. That is not true.
Right.
And so, like, when you can spend an hour, 2 hours developing a straight character, you can just maybe do 30, 45 minutes on
a couple of minutes.
Character.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just like the amount of time that it's just like they'll just be like a high school coming of age movie, and you'll just cut over to some queer character being like, and then I told her she looked crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like, you think that's the representation people want?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, can we make this gay person well, I was going to say a killer, but the whole Jeffrey Dahmer thing, I think I'm not going to say that anymore.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, can we make them something else? Can they be a bully? Can they be a villain? Can they be a hopeless romantic?
But they're scared.
Can they not be like a pill-popping sex addict? Like, can they be something else?
I'm with you. No, but I think in the same, like, vein, I think people need to understand that, like, I think a lot of, like, I think online call-out shit has a smaller effect than people think it does, but it does have an effect.
Yeah.
And I think motherfuckers are scared. I think, like, literally in writers' room, people are like, well, if we make a gay villain, are people going to think we're saying gay people are the villain? And it's like the nuance of...
No, because all villains have mostly been queer-coded throughout history.
Right, that's true.
I mean, like, and also, everyone loves villains. Like, if you watch Glee, very gay show, Santana, the incredible, she wasn't really a villain, but she definitely was mean. Or, like, Jane Lynch played an incredible... Like, it's like, you are allowed to... As long as you are humanizing the story, it makes sense, and you're not being like, they're evil because they're gay. Like, that is the thing that is not the truth. That is not accurate.
Right, but then, I think that those people, everything you said is completely correct, and it's like I think villains can be some of the most more compelling than heroes in most things, and like you can see the humanity of villains
in a movie. I would love to remake The Devil Wears Prada and play Miranda Priestley.
You would be unbelievable.
But like as a guy, like I would think.
But it's like, but I think people are, like studios or executives or whatever, are scared about a think piece that comes out being like, oh, so whatever, Sony Pictures thinks every gay person is a villain.
Well, you can't be scared of conversation. That's stupid.
I agree with you.
And then also, like, the whole thing about the call-out stuff is, like, one thing I've realized about Hollywood is very good at smoke and mirrors. They're very good at, like, taking a concept or a cause that people want and being like, we're wearing ribbons on the red carpet.
Yes.
That's not helpful. You're not helping. Like, it's you have literally all the power in media. Like, it's like, and even people that are, like, number one on the call sheet, like, they have a lot of power. You could say, like, I only want lesbian grips. Like, okay, like, sure, that might be really hard to find. Like, I don't know if there's like a network for that, but I'm saying, like, you could technically do that and make it at least get a couple. You could make things. You could ask for things like that.
Right.
But then people becomes like, well, I don't want to be difficult. Well, I don't want to do this. Why don't it becomes like this? Everything's a game, a money game, and it's like, which is, I mean, you can't do anything about that, I don't guess, but.
I think what you're talking about is a state of like confusion most people find themselves in, and it's the fact that like everything does need to serve a monetary bottom dollar, but you do want to still see representation because there is like a social benefit to that. So you do get kind of caught in this sort of shell game of, well, we want representation, but then immediately when that representation is seen, it's commodified. And when you're commodifying representation, is it really representation or is it just serving a
Sure, but everything can't be perfect. I mean, that's like the thing. It's overall, are you trying to do the best you can, or are you not? Like, that's everything in life. Are you doing the best you can at this, or are you doing it just because you think you have to do it, or because you'll overwhelm yourself trying to be perfect in any aspect, even if it's like, being kind trying to do too much of anything is too hard. Your brain doesn't function like that. You have to, like, there are moments you have to be like, I made a mistake. I'm so sorry I said that thing to you. I'm so sorry I did that. Sorry we didn't do this right. We'll fix it. That's not really that hard to do. I mean, we have Beyonce taking words out of a song. She's like, my bad. Like,
I think for all like the negative shit that's happening, I think we are kind of coming around as a society to like an evening out point where I think like the ability to have these conversations are important. And I think maybe I'm too hopeful, but I think we are slowly learning how to like be humans a little bit more, even though a lot of these conversations are happening mostly online and in social media. I think people are sort of slowly but surely moving away from that like piranhas sort of.
Oh yeah, like you did this wrong, so we're gonna gut you.
So we're gonna gut. Yeah, you made a mistake, so we're gonna. So instead of like wanting a.
Well, I also don't think you should weaponize queerness. I don't think you should use your sexual or any part of your being as a weapon, because I think that really, just like on our last conversation, it really dampens it being meaningful. It really, if everything is because you feel like, and this is not just to do with queer people, it's any kind of trait really, but if everything is because of something, then it makes it really hard when that is the truth to point that out.
Right. That's true.
And I think most people, again, are normal people that know that, but I do think that the smoke and mirrors aspect of Hollywood is really, really the big talkers, little doers is what it feels like. Big
talkers, little doers.
It's like, because it's the things you're being asked to do are not like, they're not insane things.
A lot of them aren't.
You're making movies about robots and aliens. Like, the concept of adding in a believable female character is not out of this world fantasy. Like, you know what I mean? And even not even just for queer people or people that are underrepresented in general, straight people too. Like, I would like to see more movies where straight people are different from every other straight person in every other movie.
Right.
Like, I would like to see a girl.
We need Azalea Banks in the next Transformers.
There you go. I mean, honestly, go for it.
Come on now.
I mean, it's just like I don't need every beautiful leading woman to be like a little shy. Like, I don't need that.
Yeah.
I want one to be in there and be like, no, I'm the fucking shit. Like, that thing exists.
Right.
Like, I also another thing, just, this is kind of unrelated, but also, why do people, I mean, I understand throughout time a movie might not age as well, but do you know how little tattoos are in movies?
Yeah, that is insane.
And the whole fucking world has tattoos at this point.
Everybody.
And we're covering tattoos. Like, can you just make a character with tattoos? Pete Davidson did that in his movie. He had tattoos, all his tattoos.
I'm completely milquetoast, and I have 3 tattoos. It's like there's no. Yeah.
I mean, it's like how come we're just picking and choosing who's allowed to have tattoos? Like Ruby Rose, she can act in anything with tattoos, but then we're just like, oh, not Angelina, we're gonna cover all hers. And it's like I understand period pieces, I totally get all that, and I understand like things aging. Like maybe if you have a certain tattoo, like in 20 years the movie will look weird, but like we're CGI tears on people and stuff. Yeah, so like I think we can fucking move past this whole tattoo being a problem in films.
With you.
I'm like, because I'm all the time. I'm like, well, can I even be in movies? Like, I don't even know if we're allowed to have tattoos in movies. So it's just like all that shit is like silly.
You're like, I could do my own makeup to cover them up.
Yeah, I was like, I can be an assistant to other people.
Yeah,
it's just like those kind of things. I get so annoyed with the whole like, well, we don't know what to do. We don't know how to have any diversity at the award show. I don't know, fuckface. Put a different person on the call list.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
15 people that could do this, but you're just like, well, what if we had the actors from the 70s again and again and again and again until
every
they die?
Single time,
which is great for them. Love them. Live, laugh, love. But like, we are in the place of like, even fucking magazine covers. Like, we are still talking about Brad and Angelina's breakup this long into it. There's no more information. It's not happening unless they get back together. Don't fucking put this on a piece of paper again. I don't care.
The issue,
it's also nobody's business.
So I think this is the real issue with like Hollywood's foray into representation is that they're not just looking, and it's also I think the issue that other people like on the other side of things who are like, oh, there's too much like representation. You're trying to put too many blah blah blah. I think Hollywood and them. Like, there's this issue that doesn't really get discussed about where people who are being brought to the forefront, and it's like there have been like a lot of really good, really talented ones, but I think Hollywood puts too much pressure and stress on the people who are being represented have Hollywood sensibilities. It's like, it's not just that they want representation. If you did like what you said, can we just do this? But the issue that Hollywood has with that is that, well, they also need to have our sensibilities. They need to be like we are. They need to talk like we talk. It's like every time there's a person of color on the news or like on like local news, they sound the same. If you close your eyes, you're like, this is the same. It's like that times a million with Hollywood.
Yeah, Hollywood definitely does not want to. Well, first of all, they want like if they add a character into anything, it's like it's just a stereotype that they've expanded about this much. It's never like. No one's ever like looking in Middle America to see like, well, what do people there do? Like, because so many movies are based around like bigger cities and bigger like environments, and so it's really easy to be like, well, that is the way it is here.
That
and it's like, okay,
fucking pisses me off too.
Yeah, me too. I'm always like, and also the concept of like, this actually might be. I'm going to save this for a different episode because I want to talk about the idea of like. This whole concept of having to like leave small towns to be anything.
Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
That's the whole reason small towns are the way they are.
I love that.
Yeah, but in general, this has been a long episode, so I really have nothing else to say about nostalgia unless you do, because I'm happy to keep talking, but I don't want to overwhelm people with nostalgia.
What a great episode!
I don't know what we were talking about. It wasn't even nostalgia at that point.
What a great episode! That was fun.
I like that you end all our episodes like that.
If I don't end it like that, it means I fucking hated it. No, if you guys like the podcast, please subscribe to the YouTube or subscribe to whatever. What else can they say? Spotify, Apple.
Rate, review, share.
Review, yeah, that helps us out. When you review, it helps a lot.
It does. Everything helps a lot, like I said earlier. Yeah. So please help. Please help. And yeah, this was fun.
Great one.
You said so I believe it. Mm-hmm. I take all my cues from straight men.
We're not high on this one, so it probably went a little different than the last one.
The other one was great.
They were both great. They were both great in their own ways. I would not be shamed
for being high in California.
I was high also.
In my own home. You're gonna haunt me in my own home?
I would never. Thank you guys.
Okay, bye.